What's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. Let's dive into our first news. Khamzat has finally broken his silence after the footage went viral showing him getting taken down by former light heavyweight title challenger Alexander Gustafsson. Yes, the same man who once took down Jon Jones inside the octagon. When you put it that way, it doesn't come as a huge shock to see a fighter of Gustafsson's size and skill level taking down a middleweight like Khamzat. Still, the clip made waves online, and fans couldn't stop talking about it. In a recent chat on Adam Zuba's channel, Khamzat reacted to the footage, giving nothing but respect to Gustafsson's game. He praised him openly, saying his wrestling is on another level, so technical, so powerful, and that he controls every position like a true master. Every takedown, every scramble, according to Khamzat, is perfect. He even went as far as to say Gustafsson will always be a champion in his eyes. Khamzat admitted that growing up, Gustafsson was a role model, someone he looked up to, someone who inspired him to become a better fighter every single day. He thanked him for everything he has done, not just for him personally, but for everyone around them. Khamzat called him the best, a complete fighter in striking, wrestling, and everything in between. Looking ahead, the middleweight contender is preparing for what could be one of the most crucial stretches of his career. He is lined up to face either Nasruddin Imavov or RDR in 2026, depending on how RDR performs against Brendan Allen at UFC Vancouver. Regardless of who it ends up being, the stakes are massive, and the middleweight division is paying very close attention. If it's Imavov, fans expect fireworks. If it's RDR, many believe it could be a true clash of styles. Khamzat's relentless wrestling and pressure against RDR's slick and dangerous jiu-jitsu off his back. That potential matchup has already drawn plenty of opinions from big names in the sport. Bisping recently weighed in, saying he sees RDR as the toughest possible test for Khamzat. According to Bisping, apart from RDR, there isn't a single fighter in the division that looks capable of beating him. He explained that RDR's jiu-jitsu skills and ability to work off his back are unique weapons, but even then, he admitted that RDR would have a very tough time trying to stop Khamzat's dominance. Bisping called it a looming disaster for the division, not because Khamzat would struggle as champion, but because his reign could be so dominant and one-sided that no one else in the middleweight division would be able to keep up. Dean Thomas also chimed in, though his concern was different. He pointed out that Khamzat has had issues with visas and may not be able to fight as often as fans would want. Still, when it comes to what happens inside the cage, few doubt that Khamzat could rule the division for years. Sean Strickland has already raised his hand, claiming he's the man to beat him. But the reality is that no one, aside from RDR, is being seen as a genuine threat right now. If Khamzat keeps up this pace, the middleweight division could be staring at a reign unlike anything we've seen before, built on pressure, power, and wrestling dominance. Before moving to the next news, we have one quick request for you. We are constantly working on improving our content to earn your love and support. That is why we truly appreciate it if you could take just a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update here on MMA Pulse News. Moving on to another news. JDM has set his sights on one of the toughest challenges in the sport, making it clear he wants to knock out Islam Makhachev. Speaking on Submission Radio, JDM broke down how he sees the fight playing out and explained why he believes he has the tools to hand Islam a rare defeat. He said that he fully expects Islam to shoot for an early takedown, knowing the danger that comes with standing in front of his hands. For JDM, the blueprint comes from Islam's fight with Alexander Volkanovski, where Volk was able to push Islam in ways no one else had managed to do. But Islam has already responded, reminding everyone that JDM is not Volk, making it clear that the featherweight champ operates on a completely different level. This fight carries massive stakes, not just for JDM and Islam, but for two divisions at once. If Islam loses, many expect him to return to lightweight, where a potential super fight with Ilia could be waiting. If Islam wins, however, welterweight suddenly has a brand new force at the top, and the entire landscape of the division changes overnight. For JDM, that kind of opportunity is exactly what fuels him. He said his preparation has been steady, focusing on building a strong game plan for a 5-round war. But at the same time, he admitted that his eyes are set on finishing the fight and making a statement at Madison Square Garden. JDM said a knockout would be the dream scenario, the kind of moment that blows the roof off MSG and silences any doubts about who belongs at the very top. He admitted he can see it happening, landing that big shot and shocking the world by taking out the pound-for-pound #1. He knows Islam brings elite wrestling, but he also sees openings in his striking defense. According to him, Islam gets hit more often than some of the other top welterweights, and that gives him confidence he'll be able to land clean. When comparing Islam to someone like Belal Muhammad, JDM acknowledged both are strong grapplers, but he pointed out the differences. In his view, Islam carries more finishing ability, but at the same time, he leaves more chances to get touched on the feet. That contrast is exactly what motivates him, and he insists he isn't underestimating Islam. Instead, he looks at him as a completely different type of challenge, one he is more than ready to meet. As for what could come after this fight, JDM didn't shy away from naming names. He said Shavkat still feels like the most likely option, a fight that makes sense stylistically and one fans have been buzzing about for a while. He also gave credit to Sean Brady for what he's accomplished, but in his mind, the Shavkat matchup seems like the one that would capture the most attention. For now though, his focus is locked on Islam. JDM made it clear that November 15th is his date with destiny, and he intends to seize it with everything he has. Moving on to another news, Ilia has once again made headlines after opening up about his sparring sessions with welterweights, including viral photos of him training with Garry. Speaking in a recent interview with trusted Spanish journalist Alvaro Comenro, Ilia confirmed that he has indeed trained with Garry, and according to him, he felt very comfortable throughout the session. He made it clear that at no point did he feel like he was at a disadvantage, and that simple statement was enough to send a subtle but powerful message to Islam Makhachev. Ilia has been vocal about his desire to eventually meet Islam, and now he's using these sparring sessions as evidence that he's ready to step into higher weight classes and test himself against the very best. Ilia explained that when he sparred with Garry, it wasn't treated as a fight, but rather a technical session where both men exchanged knowledge. Still, neither went easy on each other, and Ilia came out of it feeling confident. He emphasized just how comfortable he was, repeating that phrase to underline his belief that he can hang with the bigger athletes. He didn't stop at Garry though. Ilia revealed that he sparred with many welterweights, and in every single case, he has never felt outmatched or overwhelmed. His words painted a clear picture. Ilia is not simply chasing greatness, he's preparing to invade multiple divisions and prove that his skills translate no matter the size of the opponent. It isn't just Ilia himself making these claims. Fighters like Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns have also spoken about the sparring sessions, admitting that Ilia has shared the cage with top-level welterweights and even landed big shots on them. That type of acknowledgement from two former title challengers adds serious weight to his statements. With Ilia expected to fight again before the end of the year, the options being discussed are names like Paddy Pimblett or Arman. Both fights would generate attention, but Ilia made it clear that no matter what happens next, his eyes are locked on Islam. He refuses to let go of that goal, insisting that the matchup with the lightweight champion remains at the top of his list. As the conversation continued, Ilia reflected on the broader narrative surrounding him. Many believe he has the chance to become the first ever three-division champion in UFC history, moving from featherweight to lightweight and ultimately welterweight. The pictures of him sparring with Garry only fueled that talk further. When asked directly about how the session went, Ilia calmly explained that while it wasn't a fight, it was still a tough scrap. Both men pushed each other, both landed shots, and both walked away with respect. He added that his experiences training with welterweights in general have given him the confidence to know he belongs at that level. For Ilia, this is more than just building hype. It's about sending a message to Islam and to the rest of the world that he is not backing down from his ambitions. Every sparring session, every interview, and every move he makes is designed to show that he is ready to step into bigger waters. Whether it's Paddy, Arman, or someone else next, the endgame for Ilia remains clear. Prove he can rise above divisions and eventually face Islam on the biggest stage possible. Moving on to another news, Diego Lopes has made it clear that he is more than ready to step in for a rematch against Alexander Volkanovski this coming December. Volkanovski recently mentioned that he wants to defend the featherweight title before the end of the year, and Lopes wasted no time letting everyone know that he would gladly be available. Coming off a huge TKO victory over Gene Silva, Lopes said his body feels great and that he is already back in training. He explained that he only had a short 7-day medical suspension, and by Monday he was already back in the gym preparing. Lopes described himself as a fighter who is always ready, someone who doesn't need 3 or 4 months to get in shape or prepare for a fight. He said that he's never been the type to gain a lot of weight in between fights, so staying in condition is natural for him. In his own words, Lopes said he's the kind of fighter who can get a call from the UFC, book a flight, and be ready to compete the very next week. That mentality, he believes, makes him the perfect candidate for December. He emphasized that there have been no talks yet with the UFC about the rematch, but he feels his recent performance spoke louder than words. His promise going into the last fight was to make a statement, and he feels that by finishing Gene Silva in spectacular fashion, he did exactly that. Lopes rated his performance as a 10 out of 10, and said he knew the key to getting his name in front of UFC matchmakers was to not just win, but to win impressively. According to him, that mission is accomplished, and now it's up to the UFC to decide what happens next. Lopes added that when it comes to making fights the fans want, his name is definitely one that excites people. He feels fans are looking for explosive matchups that keep them glued to the TV from start to finish. He said no one wants to watch fights where they feel comfortable walking away to grab a drink or use the bathroom without missing much action. What people want are dynamic fights, high-energy moments, and thrilling exchanges. And that's exactly what he brings every time he steps into the octagon. Lopes believes his style matches perfectly with the excitement fans crave, and that's why his name being on the table for December makes a lot of sense. The Brazilian featherweight has quickly built a reputation as one of the most exciting fighters in the division. His durability, aggressive pace, and willingness to trade make him a fan favorite, and his latest performance only boosted his stock. A rematch with Volkanovski would not only give him a chance to prove how much he's evolved since their first meeting, but also deliver the kind of action that UFC fans are hungry for. Lopes ended his statement by saying that if the UFC wants him in December, he'll be there, ready to fight, no hesitation, no excuses. Moving on to another news, Joe Rogan has made it clear that he does not believe Duplessis can ever beat Khamzat. Not long after Khamzat put on a wrestling clinic at UFC 319, Rogan questioned if Duplessis could ever bridge the massive gap in their grappling abilities. Recently, he took it to an even stronger stance, saying flat out that he does not see Duplessis avenging that loss. In their fight, Khamzat ended Duplessis's reign in dominant fashion, taking him down multiple times and controlling him from top position throughout the contest. Leading into the bout, Khamzat was already a strong favorite, but Duplessis had built a reputation for proving doubters wrong. After all, he had shocked the world time and time again, which is why some fighters picked him to get it done. But once the cage door closed, it was one-sided. Khamzat dictated the pace, smothered Duplessis with relentless wrestling, and gave him no room to breathe. The fight went the distance, and some fans called it boring because there wasn't a dramatic finish, but for Rogan, it was nothing short of complete dominance. On his podcast with the legendary Mark Kerr, Rogan broke down just how wide the gap looked. He explained that going into the fight, Duplessis was being talked about as one of the greatest middleweights of all time. His resume spoke for itself. He knocked out Robert Whittaker, he took out Israel Adesanya, and he even managed to beat Sean Strickland twice. His rise to the top was as convincing as any middleweight run in recent history. Yet after facing Khamzat, everything shifted. Rogan said that despite all of Duplessis's incredible wins, the way Khamzat neutralized him inside the cage made it feel like there is no path forward for him in a rematch. He put it bluntly, saying, "I don't think he's ever going to beat that guy." Rogan emphasized that the gap between them isn't something that can be closed with time. No matter how much Duplessis improves, Khamzat's combination of physical strength, technical wrestling, and relentless pressure makes the matchup nearly impossible for him to overcome. For Rogan, it wasn't just about Khamzat winning. It was about the level of control he had over a man who was previously being spoken of as an all-time great. It left a clear message to the rest of the division. As far as Rogan is concerned, Duplessis is never going to bridge that gap, and Khamzat is here to stay at the very top. Moving on to another news, Renato Moicano recently shared the full story of how Alex Pereira pranked him, leaving everyone laughing, including Gilbert Burns, who jumped in to troll him. Moicano explained that it all started after he did a podcast with Glover Teixeira, which went viral and gained more than 100,000 views. During the show, Moicano asked Glover a question he thought was harmless, but apparently it set the stage for Pereira to pull off a funny prank. He said he asked Glover, "In your prime, if you fought Pereira, who wins?" According to Moicano, Glover answered very respectfully, saying that Pereira is the man, giving him full credit. Later on, Pereira watched the video and decided to have some fun. He thought it would be hilarious to prank Moicano about that question. Moicano admitted that when he got a call from Pereira, he didn't even realize it was him at first. Pereira called him through WhatsApp, but the number was blocked, so Moicano had no idea who it was until Pereira messaged, "Hey, this is Poatan, answer the phone." At that point, Moicano said he was already stressed out because he had been driving with his son, hit a nail on the road, got a flat tire, and had to drop the car at a tire shop. He was walking home, tired and frustrated, when Pereira decided to call and prank him. When he finally answered, Pereira told him in a serious tone, "Mo, I'll be straight with you. People don't like me because of the things I say, but I didn't like what you said on the podcast." Moicano, caught off guard, replied nervously with, "What's up, my brother? I wasn't trying to say anything bad." The whole exchange was recorded and later shared, and it quickly went viral. Many fans watching the video said Moicano looked scared and caught off guard, while others believed he handled it well. Gilbert Burns then jumped in to tease him, saying, "You were afraid, bro. Everyone knows you as the guy who always goes loud and crazy, but the moment Pereira called you, you were already shaking, saying, 'What's up, my brother?'" Burns kept laughing and trolling, insisting Moicano was scared. Moicano fired back, saying Burns would have reacted the same way if Pereira called him, probably acting like a huge fan and being even more nervous. Burns kept pushing the joke, and Moicano tried to defend himself by reminding everyone of the situation, saying he was already dealing with the flat tire and was just tired when Pereira called. Moicano also pointed out that he never actually said anything disrespectful during his podcast with Glover. He only asked a genuine question, and Glover's answer was respectful. But Pereira, being Pereira, saw the chance to prank him, and it worked perfectly. The whole thing showed the lighter side of Pereira, while also putting Moicano in a funny spot. In the end, fans loved it, Burns had his fun, and Moicano admitted that maybe he looked a little nervous but wasn't really afraid. He laughed it off, but also made it clear that Burns exaggerates everything just to make him look bad. The prank clip is now another entertaining moment in the MMA community, showing how fighters love to troll each other outside the cage. That's it from MMA Pulse News. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for daily MMA news.